new drummer for a new awakening.
Hi, I'm Anne Marie, and thank you for joining. And how are you today, Joe?
Oh, I'm great. How are you?
Oh, enjoying the autumn cool weather and just feeling more or less kind of that. I don't know about you, but about this time of year, it seems as if the how do you say that?
Uh, bar- Barometric pressure.
Barometric pressure
Yeah, because
really
I'm always
starts to
affected by
affect
it. That's why I know.
what?
I'm always affected by it. That's how I know.
Yeah, I know. Well, and
Yeah,
for me, it's about sleeping. It
yeah,
seems
yeah.
whenever there's a seasonal change, I cannot sleep. It's like
hmm
something I can't even describe. It's like everything that's inside me is just reversing and going different directions, and it's very odd, but it makes
And
for a lot of sleepless.
I get hot, cold, sweaty, freezing,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
because you're doing your busy stuff. You're doing stuff. We have a certain amount of humidity, and you're going to build up a sweat, and then you go outside, and it's a cold wind, and it kind of wears you down. It takes a toll, And then I have the seasonal fall allergy, which is, and I live in the country, so when there's harvest and
Oh, wow.
there's a lot of dust in the air, this is a lot. So I really don't go outside a whole lot, even though I do love the fall. It makes me sad to see summer go, but there's something special about the fall too. So I say that
Oh,
take what you
just,
can.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
it's fun to walk the dogs and all the leaves, because Bugsy the border collie, he loves the sound of running through leaves. He's just happy as a clam.
As pop.
I was going to say a pig, and no.
Oh, well, I think yeah, I've got a new Saint Bernard puppy, and it's been really fun to watch him grow as well as to discover autumn and leaves and all the things like that for the first time. And
Yeah.
and it's like having a new kid. I keep
Mhm.
asking people, is this normal? Is this normal? Because I'm used to getting rescue animals, not puppies.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so this is like a whole new territory for me.
Oh, it's a blank slate.
It is.
And that's why Bugsy seems so special. He's so unusual because this is the first home. This is all he knows.
Mm.
He's been here since he was 8 weeks old,
Oh,
and even
wow.
even at the shelter, somebody there always took them home every night in the box. And they would be in their backyard in their home for the weekend, and they were very happy dogs. They had a very happy beginning. So, and then he came to this household where everybody spoils him. And he's very well behaved. He's not a spoiled brat. He's just spoiled in terms of attention and love, and actually in being able to communicate with humans, because he's a large part of the lives of everybody here. So you get to really truly know that personality and appreciate it, and it's really pretty cool. you know and he grew up here, and so I would have to say he's become a very polite, well-mannered,
Oh, well, that's
He's
nice.
he's never been a problem. He's never. I mean, when he was a puppy, he chewed one chair, and I think later I heard he had chewed some computer cords. I didn't know about that, but other than that, that's it. And we couldn't stop the chair problem. We tried something called that was bitter. It's supposed to deter dogs from chewing, and he liked it. And then we put Tabasco sauce on the chair,
Oh,
and
my,
he
Tabasco, that
liked
would
that. He liked it.
he liked the
He
Tabasco
liked it. This
sauce.
little puppy, he's
Oh
licking
my
his lips,
gosh.
and I thought, okay, what are you, part Chihuahua?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
aside from that, he's never done anything bad, never gotten into anything. Um, he's just good, well socialized. He was traveling at 8 weeks old. He had gone on trips, in different states to visit friends, meet other dogs. He has been so well. He's Mr. Social. He
Well,
doesn't play
that's
with his toys anymore by himself. But if a new dog comes over, he drags out his toys and waves them around,
uh,
inviting them to play. He's a very social dog. It's really amazing.
well, my, Ty, we call him Ty because in order for me to keep him, I had to call him what my husband's favorite ball player was, which was Ty Cobb, and so Ty is his name, and he has been raised pretty much by my Siberian, who has given him, such wild fun. But on the other hand, I'm very aware that with a Saint Bernard, I have to have boundaries. There's, like certain boundaries about how close a Saint Bernard gets to you when you're
Hmm.
eating, because the
Right.
last thing you want is a pool of mucousy spit hanging and drools over your
Yes.
plate. And it's just been fun. It's a fun breed. I've never had one before, and I think he's going to be awesome. But other than that, I would say, have you noticed anything unusual in the psychic field, in the landscape of the spiritual field? You were saying something about, sent me something about aura reading, which
Mm.
I tried to recapture, but I didn't get a chance to really
Oh,
read
well, you
it
know
to.
what? I did pull something up, because I saw this interesting. I've been seeing some very interesting videos about this sort of thing, and there's a few standout that we can share some of those links that I sent you, because actually there's a few. One guy in particular who does a good job of explaining it. But there's four basically that I've been able to uh, come across, and they're listed as the generator, which is
Ah,
somebody who attracts and responds to
uh-huh.
other auras. There's the projector, who absorbs and focuses, like they absorb a lot.
Are
Um,
these the people that are reading the auras of people
No,
or
people who
what?
the auras of people, the types of, because we don't all have the same kind of aura. We don't all have the same color, obviously, but we also, there's different types of auras, like say
Mhm.
possibly like in the way they are. Like there's people who are considered to be generators because their aura is the type that attracts and responds to when they
Would
come
that be
within.
like would that be like Trump or people like him that seem to steal all the oxygen out of a room? Is there something about them that
Well, it depends upon the person's personality. Like all of these could be good. It all depends upon the person's personality. Now, the generator is just one of them, but there's also one called a projector who absorbs everything, a lot of everybody around them, and they will focus really on one at a time. They could really only focus on one aura at a time, but they will take in a lot. There's one called the manifester, which is someone who repels auras. They have this,
Repel?
yeah, they have this way of, it's like when you have you have two positives in a magnet, trying to, they just keep, it doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It just means that that's the sort of their nature, is that they have this tendency to, it tends to push,
People
you
away?
know, it, right. It's a feeling. And you get this feeling. I don't know if sometimes you might have even felt it, where you approach somebody, you're like, I don't want to be by that person. Well, it's because they're doing that. It doesn't mean that they're evil. It just means that's just how they are. That's just, they have that nature about them. It's kind of hard to get close to them. You can, but you're always going to kind of feel like you're being pushed away a little bit. And then they
Right.
have something called the reflector, who they just kind of, auras kind of bounce back. I mean, they just kind of, and they get little samples of it, and they just, it's like how this field around them behaves. Now, these are descriptions of how this energy field, this aura field, how it behaves. And it might even look different. It might have some might have a spiraling, sprawling aura that just seems like, they walk into a room and they fill it, and um,
Right.
some people, you can feel them coming, like a half hour before they even get there. you
Ah,
know
yeah.
they have that. But now that's great, depending upon the personality, and all these are perfectly fine. It just depends on the personality. Like, say, if you're a mean, horrible person who's a total, just hates people, and you happen to be a manifester, which impacts and repels, it's pretty unpleasant. But if
Well,
you're,
and I have
you
to
know,
say about, um, have you ever noticed that certain people, I say this, I know this one woman, and she is, she has been one of those women that was stuck with a relationship. She's an older woman, and
mhm,
she's stuck with a relationship with a man with cancer until the very end. But she always admitted that she wanted to find love as soon as possible. Now, I
mhm,
talk to, many, many, many people who cannot find love, and they're constantly searching, searching, searching. And it seems as if just by her making the decision she wanted to find love,
mhm,
within probably 6 months after her husband died, she was in an amazing relationship with somebody that owned his own farm and had, lots of money and seemed to have her duplicate personality. And she told me today that she says, I'm leaving, the area. I am going to live on a farm, and I am so happy, and he's my twin flame. And I thought, wow, that's amazing how some people
yeah,
can wish for love like that, and boom,
mhm,
they have it. And then there's other people that no matter what, they just can't get it.
oh,
Or a job or anything. It doesn't have to be,
mhm.
just love.
Well, and maybe the ones that just can't get it are the ones that are repelling. They have that
Yeah.
tendency to drive things
Yeah.
away, and they have to work within that. Once they understand that it's not really them as people, it just happens to be their field, that aura, that, and if, some people, like I said, you can interpret such a feeling you get from somebody by saying that maybe they're the wrong person. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? But it's like, well, no, it doesn't necessarily mean that. It just means that it's different, and it's not one that's
Right.
going to be easy to get to know. That's like those people that are hard to get to know. It
They
doesn't seem
are.
like those are radiant auras. They're just difficult to get to know, because it's just not easy. But they're actually they could be deeply spiritual. You know, and they could even be healers. But try to get close to
I think
them,
that
and
there's I
you
It
know,
seems to
yeah.
me, and I don't know, but it seems to me, and I do want to say for those of you that want to call into the show, the number is 602-666-6027. That's 602-666-6027. And Joseph and I would love to read for your voice, having that warmth come from you is so important to us. But
Oh
we will
yeah.
read for InQuick as well. And I do want to say that we have Casey from Ohio. We have Susan from Massachusetts. We have Mary from New York. And in the call room, we have Elizabeth from Canada. So please do join us, everybody. We'd love to read for you. Yeah, I was going to say that I've noticed also that sometimes, I'm going to give you an example. I watch the Ellen show every once in a while, and I've
Ellen?
always Ellen,
Oh, the
and
generous, yeah.
yeah, and I've always loved Stevie Nicks, and Stevie Nicks was on Ellen yesterday. Maybe it was the day before. She
Hmm.
looked great. She was so magnetic. And then Ellen came to her and talked to her, and all I could feel was, like you said, this
Hmm.
energetic pushing away, and she became deadpan.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
was like, wow, how
Mhm.
do you be so animated like that? And then you become a real person and you're so deadpan, you know?
Well,
So,
she was being Ellen on TV, but Ellen as a host,
no,
and
I'm
an
meaning
Ellen,
Nikki, I'm
yeah.
Stevie Nicks. I'm
Oh,
talking
Stevie
about
Nicks, I
Stevie
mean,
Nicks.
yeah, Stevie Nicks. She's a pro. She's a very good performer, and but then she's a person, and her aura might be one that could feel like it's repelling you. Because she's kind of like one of what I would call one of the alpha females, and
Hmm.
sometimes, like say people like Madonna, Annie
Mm,
Lennox of the
hmm.
Eurythmics, there's you feel a strength. And there's actually a local based performer from Illinois, Kathy Richardson, who is of the Kathy Richardson band, and I've met her. She's very nice, and she also is. Well, I don't know if she's still doing it, but she was one of the newer members of the Jefferson Starship that was recent. Like
Ah,
filling in Grace Slick's shoes, and actually being able to do Janis Joplin songs
wow,
very
that's
well.
not easy to do
Yeah.
Janis songs.
No, well, she played Janis in New York, actually, in a play, in a musical concert type thing. And she's very talented, but watching her, I'm thinking, boy, she looks so big and strong on that stage, you know? Like, she just does. She has this power. And then you meet her on the ground afterwards, and she's this little, delicate, pretty little thing, you know.
Like,
But I always
what
call that
happened?
that's it is actually. But some people are like, whoa, this is weird, But I think it's cool, and because that's just how people are. It's cool, and because that alpha side really comes out when they're in their element on that stage. It's
I don't
strong.
know
It's
what
powerful.
yeah,
Yeah.
because there are certain people that they go out of their way to stay away from people completely. I would say Michael Jackson was like that. And then you get them on a stage and they're like you said, they become giants and they become
Right.
animated and they become
Yes.
so sparkling and charismatic, and then you get them off
Yeah.
the stage and it's like they
Yeah.
just disappear. It's
Yeah.
so bizarre. But
Well,
I
it's
guess
it's like
that's
it's like if you've been watching this funny show for many years, and this a person on it who's very funny, and then you see them on a talk show and they sound like me. I mean, or they just sound like normal. Like not you know they don't
yeah.
sound like themselves. So they just sound so normal. They say, boy, this guy's really doesn't seem nearly as happy as he does on his show. But the thing is, but it's not like they're unhappy. It's like we get used to seeing that broadness in the performance, and it makes them seem so big. And actually, they are quite big when they're up there, because it's like I would love to see what their aura is doing when they're performing. Wouldn't that be wild if we could actually put on some
I would
special
love to, and I'll bet
glasses
you could
and
with an
see this?
infrared camera or something like
Well,
that.
it can be done. We could do the heat photograph thing where we could see the
Uh-huh.
heat, and we could photograph the electromagnetic field because we all have it. It's if I'm sure we could grab that somehow. But I would love to see what the aura is doing when they're performing. I would love to see what sort of a changes it goes through in
You
that
know,
kind of a performance.
that kind of reminds me of they had the Long Island Medium on the Dr. Oz show once,
Hmm.
and he wanted to see what actually happened to the brain waves when she was reading, because they
Ah,
wanted to see if she was just a sham or if there was something actually happening that you could see in the difference of her alpha waves or whatever. And so I was very surprised because she's always into her hair and hairspray and stuff like that.
hmm.
But she had all these little wires glued onto her head, and then while she would, then they had people calling, and she gave readings for people while she was glued to her little wires and stuff. And it was amazing that what happened during her reading, they found, was almost an absence of alpha waves.
Hmm.
It was like,
Really?
you would expect there to be a lot of wild, erratic waves that were seen as, oh, I don't know. You would expect with bigger than life type situations that there would be
Yes.
scarlet red waves of light and heat, but no,
Hmm.
it was almost white blank while
I
she
have a
was
theory
reading.
about that.
What?
I have a theory. Well,
What?
I know for myself that I could deliver a better reading if I'm not using my brain.
Exactly.
If I'm not thinking.
Exactly.
Um, because this way anything that pops into it is not something, or at least not something I intentionally created, you know. And
Then it becomes your baggage
right,
instead of their reading.
right.
Yeah.
So maybe
I think
that's why you're not going to see. It's like that that dead blank white. That's probably what allows her to do a reading to
allows
properly.
her to
You
channel.
know, I would love to try experiments like that, but I'm going to wait until they come out with a version where I could just put the hat on my head and then take it off. I am not going to have my head shaved or have anything stuck into
Oh
my.
no, she didn't have her head
No, no,
shaved.
no.
She
But
had,
you're talking about glued on wires and stuff,
yeah,
or
glued on
maybe
wires.
I don't know. Okay, so okay, nothing in under the skin and no head shaving. Then I might try it.
It's all very interesting, and I
Yeah,
think
that would
that
be cool.
probably
That would be
those
cool.
bigger than life personalities, I would imagine, are also going into that same channel. They're
Oh, they are.
probably
Yeah.
going out of themselves, out of the thinking, and going into the doing and the channel of the zone. And
Hmm.
maybe that zone is exactly what that is.
Hmm. No, it's interesting when you actually do like come in within if you come near their personal space, even, and the feeling you get. I always figure that's cool too. Because I think that's what makes the live performances so energetic and so much better than something that was
And but you know
carefully
what?
planned out, in a studio.
You know what, Joseph, though, what is really weird is the difference between musical performers and actors. Because it
You know,
seems like musical performers can be way out there drama, where it seems like acting has become very subdued and unact. You know what they say? Stop acting. Stop. There goes Joe. Well, acting for a lot of people, it seems like lessons is that you subdue, because the tendency for people to try to become crazy, erratically uh, performing just doesn't happen with actors. I think everything about their classes teaches them to be less than, so that they become more authentic. Well, I tell you what, since Joe is gone right now, I'm going to do a quick and I'm going to take Elizabeth next, but I want Joseph to be with me when we take Elizabeth from Canada, and he'll be back in just a second. So Susan says from Massachusetts, and I'll have Joseph take this too. Hi, Anne Marie and Joseph. I am looking to get my own thing up and running this month, and I would like to know how you see things going financially for me over the next 6 months. And there you are. And
Mm.
I'm doing an in quick for Susan, but Elizabeth from Canada is waiting for us in the phone room. So maybe
Yeah.
we should
I
take
got knocked
Elizabeth.
completely off, and
I know, I saw that. I
so
saw that.
I missed something.
You really didn't miss anything. You didn't miss
I
anything
missed.
because I tried to keep it so you
All
wouldn't.
right, because I
Eli-
missed the question and everything. So
So I'm instead of taking the in quick, I was waiting for you before I took the phone call. So
okay,
Elizabeth is calling from Canada, and I think we should take care of that first.
sure.
So let's go to Elizabeth. And Elizabeth, would love to hear from you. What can we read on for you?
Oh, hi, Anne Marie.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
I would like to know I'm having difficulties in my relationship.
Okay. And can we
Hello?
have the first name or initials of the person you are having uh, a relationship with?
G.
G. Okay. So, Joseph, do you want to take this, or would you like me to go first, or you decide?
hmm Well, I do see. To cut to the quick, I do see the Knight of Cups, and I see the Knight of Cups in your near future, or in it's. This is a fairly recent future, and that's a young man who's. I see you meeting or deepening a relationship with a romantic male of a he's a very calm sort. He has a calm nature about him, and he's somebody who he has a heart, and he's got an education, or he's smart, or self-educated, but he's considerate. He's in your future, and I'm seeing at the present time, I am seeing that there's a bit of confusion, and that's really your biggest problem. It's just not. It's I hate to say this, it's not the situation by itself, but it's also part of your reaction to it. And you find yourself maybe giving in a little too much. You might be feeling like sort of like a little bit of a doormat. But I will say that you you seem to you'll cover all your bases. It seems like you're good at that, and that's what you are doing. So, or you're on that road. That's what you've done. It's just that you have some optimism, because you have managed to put out a bunch of fires, or you're about to, and you will eventually. I am seeing that in the past, you you might not have felt very strong in the past, but that's in the past. You know, you you had some conflicts, but you take your lessons, things that are helpful, and you just leave anything negative that hurts you. I mean, don't get emotional about the past. You can't do anything about it, but take what you've learned, and it seems like you are. And I do see you you're on the road already to meeting this guy, so apparently everything you're doing is leading up to this relationship, or meeting even happening, and perhaps deepening. What do you think about that, hon?
I am. Are you talking to her or me?
You.
Okay. Okay.
And her.
Yes.
Okay, hon. um, so when I'm looking at your energy at this particular time, Elizabeth, this is what comes through. Just like Joseph said, I'm showing and low, not maybe not low self-esteem, but a sense that you feel as if your power is being ripped away from you. There's a feeling that the person you are with, G, has, for whatever reason, kind of given you mixed messages. On one side, it seems as if, in order for him to be confident, you have either willingly yourself taken a back seat, or you have maybe a habit of turning into a little girl when you go into relationships, because I show that he's grateful to have you. I'm shown that he has more confidence than you at this time. And when I look at his energy, it says he believes that he can relax totally with you. The
Hmm.
problem is he can't he's not in the same mindset of where this is going. He's in the moment. So for you to not be able to have some kind of plan or to know where this is going feels like you're not being respected, or feels as if your power is being taken away from you, which may make you revert into feeling like that, what I call that little girl. So I would say, if I look at point blank, real quick, where um, is this? What is your best course of action in dealing with G, who is seen as much more relaxed than you at this time about just where things are? And it says your best course of action is go a different direction if he's not right for you. There may be a
Hmm.
sense that you both have different expectations. And my feeling is this is going to get in the way of your passion for each other, your growth with each other. And I would listen to Joseph about that new relationship coming, because there's no
Yeah.
sense in staying with something that
Hmm.
takes your power away and makes you feel less.
Now, this Knight of Cups that I told you about might be somebody else, or it might be him. You know,
Maybe
it's something.
changes.
When
It's
is
some.
that?
It's I'm saying he might become this, because it depends on how he is as a person. But I do see this really nice person, this really nice guy. Being in your very near future. So either things are going to deepen, you know, or it's going to be somebody else. But I do see somebody with you. I do see you coming into having a relationship, or at least something very, nice happening with th- this Knight of Cups.
Why don't you tell us what you think? What is it you feel is the problem, Elizabeth?
Um, well, there's been dissension on his part, and I would like to know
Yeah.
the time frame for someone else or either G in particular.
Well,
We
you
had a
know
really
what?
nice relationship.
Yeah. They always say that if sometimes the timing is wrong, but yeah, sometimes I think, well, if the timing is wrong, then maybe the person is wrong, because actually, if it's the right person, it doesn't matter what time it is. You know,
That's right.
really. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with them. It's just not right. You know. Um, but that's just how it is. So
Yeah, because I'm not showing that he has any desire to hurt you, and
no,
and
I
I'm
see
not
a
showing that
nice
he's not.
person. I just see nice. Yeah, it's a nice person. I don't see anyone wanting to be unkind or anything, really, or arrogant or stupid or
But on the other hand, yeah,
thoughtless.
on the other
Beyond
hand,
normal. human, you know.
On the other hand, I would say that this is truly
Yeah, on
getting
the
to
other
be a
hand, but if you're not
you.
happy, yeah.
So we can't tell you what to do, but we can tell you what we see. And it sounds like it's time to possibly consider that moving on would be better. Because you can't, what is it, can't lead a buffalo to water. I don't know what they say about that.
Yeah, there is one
You
there
can't
though.
make someone have your expectations if
Yeah.
they aren't ready.
Hmm.
You can't lead a horse to water.
Yeah, there you
Well,
go.
you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Make it drink. Right, right. So I was wrong
you
there.
can lead a horse to water. You can drag a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
And he's not going to
So
be
when do
dragged.
you
I don't see
see,
him being dragged.
Yeah, you gotta be pretty strong.
so when do you see something for me?
I'm sorry, pardon?
When is someone else coming in her
When,
life?
It's really in the near
yeah,
future. Now, the Page of Cups, I'm not sure what the number, I don't remember now what that would represent. Let's see. I, I would say, okay, that would be like, okay, that would be like around 9 or 10, nines and tens. Like say maybe in, this will probably be like in 10 weeks, and not just all of a sudden boom at a halfway at a line, something to start to grow within that time. 10 weeks to 10 months over this year. Things don't happen overnight. You're not going to all of a sudden boom, but it might be 10 days, you know but it's going to be in the near future, because I don't really look beyond 2 years. I don't usually mentally even think about, like, say, like what's going to happen to you 30 years from now. I yes, things might slip in that I don't get that way, but for the most part, with this type of a reading, I would say it's all going to be. I'm looking at things that are all fairly recent, because it's a compressed answer to a question, and it's what you're going through now, and that's what you want to know about now, and this
And
relationship in general, and this G. So I'm seeing either it's going to improve a lot very soon, within the next year at least, or it's going to be somebody completely different. It's all going to happen very in the very near future. We're not talking 5 years from now or 3 years from now. We're talking like within this year, really.
can I would like to interject here. Elizabeth, it's going to happen when you stop giving high maintenance to this relationship,
Hmm.
and you have to clean the slate. And remember, it's you bring into your life who you are.
Hmm.
So if you're fresh out of a relationship in a state of a little bit of worry and anxiety, that is not the time to bring in love. You need to bring in love after you have your life
Hmm.
centered and balanced, so that you can bring in like attracts like. But
Yeah.
if you're in a state of turmoil, you're going to invite turmoil into your life. And
Hmm.
remember, people in turmoil can have many masks on their face that look different than what they are. So, another thing I'm going to say is, please don't go into such anxiety, because
Yeah.
what I'm seeing is that you have to be. Remember when Joseph said this isn't a one sided thing? I'm shown that that's true. You have to watch out for your own personal anxiety level. When you find that someone does not meet to your standards, be very careful that you don't find yourself changing
Hmm.
without knowing you're doing it. Remember when we talked about the auras, how sometimes you can have somebody that's flamboyant and really sparkly, and yet you get them one to one and suddenly they seem to close off? I think when you go into anxiety, you close off. And once you close off, you become a mirror of energy, which will then bounce back on whoever you're with. So watch out
And
and
that's good
stay.
to know, because you yourself know. I mean, I always, have this thing. I always say, I know how I get. I know how I get. I've been around long enough to know how I get, and I could feel a mood. I know that some of the things are just me, you know,
Hmm.
because of something that happened, because of the way I was trained, because of my environment, because of the things that happened to me. It taught me that this is going to happen if I do this. So I'm not going to do that. Forget that. Well, the thing is, that's not always true. And sometimes you get mad or you don't get to feel appreciated because it seems like you're doing everything. You don't have the energy. And then you wonder about people's motivations. Then you have to say to yourself, how much of this is just simply me doing my usual things? Take a breath. Take a breath. Really. And now and see, the thing is, even knowing about the auras, there's some of that is simply that's the way you are. That aura,
Yeah.
you might have, you cannot change that aura. And of course, if you don't believe in auras, and that's fine. But the
But
thing is,
aura
there will
can be
always be
it can be yeah,
yeah,
aura is
right,
another term also
right,
for energy.
right.
Energy, right?
You might be one of those people that are hard to know, but it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. And actually, the other person might be someone that it just feels like, gee, it's so hard to get through. I don't feel like I'm ever really going to get close to this person. She keeps pulling away, or she keeps doing. But actually, you're not doing anything wrong. That's just, you have to realize that really a lot of it is just how we feel, and we just have to dismiss some of these emotions as, are they really substantiated? Like, what exactly am I not trusting, and why is or why is this confusing to me? I don't know what they mean. And sometimes maybe we're asking too many questions. We just have to accept somebody's in our space. You mentally just see what it's like. It might even be a fun experiment, with G. If you want to have a little fun, you could try these little games of energy fields and how you feel with your eyes closed. It could get pretty cool. So I was going to say, really, now that you know that the possibility of perhaps a certain energy field that is also perpetuating how you feel, once you change how you feel you can't just go, okay, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be this. No, but once you start to understand it, you do start to feel differently. And I just want to leave you with that thought, because really, some of the things that we do to ourselves because of our past experiences, it's like we've been stabbed, in the past, but we're still holding on to that blade. Just let it go.
Well, you know what?
I mean, I would
I
say,
am
Elizabeth,
sensitive, and I've been in a long-term relationship, and I know why I don't trust at this point.
Hmm. It's
I
because
would
of things
say,
in the past, right?
No, it's because of something he has done.
So it's something he's done, and you don't like what he's done.
whatever you do, Elizabeth,
Mm,
continue, move on. If you feel
Yeah,
that you are no longer happy, move on. But
yeah,
it is fun sometimes, so that you
yeah,
don't take a pattern with you to another
yeah.
relationship. As
Don't be
Joseph said,
afraid to move on then.
experiment.
Yeah.
Experiment with different behaviors and see what his reaction is. And in
Okay.
the meantime, you can open your door for someone
And
new.
besides this, then get ready for that the guy, the page of cups, or the knight of cup. I mean the knight of whatever he was. Yeah, it was. Get ready for him, because that's the one. Okay, so
Thank you,
that's the one.
Elizabeth.
perfect.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure.
Oh,
Thank you.
I had to comment on this is for you, Joseph, from Russell from Cleveland. He says, as a sleep tech, I get to put wires on people's heads. Some people, I wish I could shave their heads, as it would make placement better. We do get to watch alpha waves.
That's great.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
That's really
So,
cool.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, So Casey says, how will their finances do? We have 11 minutes and 35 seconds, and we have about 4 people to read. So we're going to have to do some lightning rod readings here.
Casey, oh, yeah. Well, I see that at the present time, there's some loss and a lot of regrets. You have some setbacks. Maybe you feel like you've lost a relationship. I do see that in general loss, not just monetary. So it's something that kind of hurts a lot. And it doesn't help that there's some monetary problems, maybe. And I don't think you'd be asking if there wasn't some questions. So I do see that there's somebody that somebody significant is going to make a huge difference, and I do see somebody, a male figure, somebody who has might be kind of boring, but I do see that this person is somebody who's going to come into uh, your life. Now I did say that help would come, but not from this person. Now you're being cautioned away from this older person, and because this is somebody who doesn't have an accurate and realistic view about finances. Okay, and they might even think that the universe kind of owes them something, and it's not really someone to put your not someone to give your basket of eggs to. So I would say you're being you're being advised to actually take an active part in working on your finances and getting professional, or going to a more experienced person to help you deal with your finances. And then I see it working out, but I don't see it working out with this person I'm seeing in your near future. And and yeah, it's the upside down page of wands. It's just not a very mature attitude. Okay, so use tact, but really do get advice, and from a more reliable. You might have to pay to hire somebody. Okay, but try to look for somebody fair, and that could work things out for you. Not somebody who's like gouge you for their services because they're just out to make money. So you have to realize that too. And and with that information, I hope it helps. I do see that there is some loss, and really in the background, it seemed it seemed like a lot of things have kind of been a disaster, and I think it's because you've had poor advice. You really do have to take better advice from people who are in the know about what they do. And if it's something that you dream of doing, really do ask somebody who's currently doing what you want to do. Okay? Somebody who knows, not just somebody who's full of it. Then you'll be okay. Then you'll be okay, really. How's that? Oh, crap. Hello? Okay, well, we've had some technical problems, but anyway, in case the last reader who asked about the financial questions, in case I was cut off before you heard what I said, um, there's don't continue to trust in people who don't know what they're talking about, because it seems like you've always had bad advice. Talk to people who know. You might have to hire somebody, but really, it seems to me that even in the future, there's an upside down page of wands who isn't a bad person, but they just don't know what they're talking about regarding finances. They're unrealistic. It doesn't, they have good intentions, but they have an unrealistic view. So really, if you dream of doing something, and talk to somebody who's already doing it and doing it well. And also, you get advice from professionals, especially finances. It's important, and it's not something, it's not something to be taken lightly. And then it will work out. But just, really stay away from bad advice. I mean, no matter how it might be a friend that you don't, but you just simply have been trusting or picking the wrong people. But hire a pro. Talk to somebody. So anyway, I wanted you to know that, and we lost Anne Marie, and I have no way of taking readings. But we can talk about auras, talk further about auras. Um, and I thought it was really interesting to read about the four auras. And they say that there are over six. Okay, with even though there are over 6 billion people on the planet, um, there are only four aura types, according to the article and some of the information that we've been looking at for the show. And like as I said, they're called the manifester, the generator, including manifesting generator, projector, and reflector. And so type is the most important aspect, I suppose. And we know how we affect people. And also, you need to protect your aura. Now, if you live in, say, an apartment building, you might have noticed that you have moved your beds and furnitures away from the connecting wall to the other person, because they do go through walls. It's radiant. So if you haven't done that, and if you are sensitive to that sort of thing, if you're not getting sleep, consider the location of your bed in respect to other people who may live within that same building. It can make a big difference. And that's one of the things that you can do. So I'm going to do the little exercise, and Anne-Marie likes to call it the prayer. But
Joseph?
Hi.
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 For some reason, Skype just completely shut down on this side. So I think that you've probably covered that pretty good for that reading. And if I look
I wasn't sure if you heard it all, because all of a sudden at some point I realized I was talking to dead air at some point, and I wasn't sure when that happened, and my mouth is going, I'm talking to nobody, and I don't know. But anyway, that's what
Anyway, I
happens.
suggest that we go to a different person.
Yeah.
Susan says, "Hi, Anne-Marie and Joseph. I'm looking to get my own thing up and running this month, and I would like to know how you see things going financially for the next 6 months." So now we've got another financial reading, but we've only got 2 minutes. So I would say for just a real quick.
Okay. Well, I do see that you're going to have a lot of help from the King of Pentacles, because he's a mature-minded male, or possibly even a mature male, physically. But he knows how to make deals, and he's a risk taker. Yeah, he's really good, very successful, and I'd say he is good for advice. He's somebody who gets devoted.
There?
Yes, he hello.
So
He's going to be very helpful, and I see it working out well with this person giving advice or being a part of what you're doing is going to make it work out really well. Because I do
And
see
I would add to that I see that this is a person that has a very magnetic personality.
Yeah.
I believe that what is happening is that, you know, sometimes the finances and any new thing that is establishing and getting off the ground, you just need to be patient. We're ending, Joseph, and I want to thank you. And
thanks. It's been fun.
All right. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Psychic Radio, holistic radio.